Welcome to the Boring AI Show, the podcast for people who want to understand AI beyond the headlines. We talk about the useful, messy, funny, and very human side of bringing artificial intelligence into the real world. Now, here are your hosts, Tim and Tally.
All right, so here we are on Boring AI Season 2, Episode 1, and we're using new software and new devices and stuff, so I don't know, Tally. I think this could be entertaining to see how this goes.
We'll see. It's an experiment, but I think that's part of the show. You're with us in real time as we try out and experiment and talk about all these different use cases and ways to use AI. So, no, I'm excited. This is a cool interface.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. So real time, but like a week or two behind. So
Exactly.
we're doing
Exactly.
recordings. So last season we did everything via LinkedIn Live with the LinkedIn Live audio, which was cool. But this year we're going to go with pre-recording so that we can get better flexibility in schedule and guests and all that good stuff. I'm pretty excited about it. So it's awesome to get going here.
Yeah, it's going to be a really fun season. I'm excited.
Well, what's new, Tally? Like in the world of AI, from your perspective, and what you're seeing, what are you watching?
Great question. I mean, top of mind for me is, and as Tim mentioned, we're recording this about a week before you guys are going to hear this, but 2026, end of April, ChatGPT just released the 5.5 version, which is really interesting. So definitely keeping an eye on that, as well as their new agent feature. But in terms of the 5.5, yeah, it's the first fully retrained model since 4.5. And it's, a pretty significant step towards more autonomous AI systems capable of completing complex tasks without that constant human oversight, which is really interesting. So I'm curious to see how different folks are going to start leveraging that, especially across, different organizations that have processes made up of a lot of complex tasks.
Yeah, it is interesting. I've been using 5.5 a little bit. I'll say most of my time lately has been in the world of Claude with co-work, and kind of experimenting and exploring that. But I definitely think 5.5 is interesting as well as the new image generator from
Yes,
OpenAI. It's really really slick. So pretty cool stuff in the world of OpenAI.
very cool.
Um,
And what are you looking? I mean, is there anything top of mind? I guess image generation for you, is that the latest and greatest from the world of Tim?
yeah, so for me, I would say I'm always so the Adobe Summit was just I think last week, and they always have awesome use cases of how they're using AI and Adobe tools and Adobe products and for creative workflows, but also like the AI assistant to help make like social media graphics, which I'm sure we'll be using to make some assets here for the Boring AI show. But the thing that is pretty interesting to me right now is the new preview of Claude Designer and using that for doing slide layouts. Because we hear all the time from clients and groups we talk to is everybody wants help making their slides.
Yes, I'm one of
And
those.
yeah, yeah. And Copilot has some powerful features with PowerPoint. It's pretty neat stuff, but there is a level of like, the slides generally kind of look the same. And again, moment in time, it'll get better. These tools will never be as bad as they are today.
Mhm.
Again. And so, as we go forward, what I like with Claude Designer is a lot of flexibility in that design, whether it's slide decks or application layouts or prototypes. It's pretty slick. It's pretty neat stuff. But yeah, it's
Very
right now
cool.
it's still a toy phase for me. So.
How does it compare to, and just give some of the audience some background, our organization uses Miro quite a bit, which is a really great tool, especially for, combination of hybrid and remote workers to all sync up and brainstorm together and ideate. And there is a feature, an AI tool within Miro boards that allows you to develop and create slides that we've had a lot of success with. I'm curious, how does it compare to that, Tim?
Yeah, I really like the Miro slide decks. At this point, I'd say a little bit better just from a visual layout, and I feel like the ability to create the workflows in Miro, where you can say, "Here's a document outlining stuff," and now turn that into a slide deck, and here's like a Kanban board, like tying that into the deck as well. that's really cool to take all that context to create your presentation. Visually, it looks really nice. Claude Designer, visually, it looks really nice. But I miss some of that workflow stuff. So I do like Miro a little bit more. But this is one of those areas we play with all the tools to see where the limits are so that we can be sharing with people. So if you're looking for a system to help you create presentations, one, I got to emphasize, you got to know how to do good presentations. Like, you can't just, let your AI make your presentation for you. You got to tell a good story, shape your story. But if you're looking for something to help you make nice looking slides, Miro is a really good tool for that. And I think Claude Designer will also be really good as it gets going.
Very cool. Very exciting. Yeah, I know that's top of mind, not only personally for a lot of folks, but I think, obviously professionally across a lot of organizations to better story tell visually.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. So on that topic, going back to storytelling and the boring AI show in general, I was a little surprised as we were going back through and seeing that we started this in 2022 or 2023. I was like, whoa, blast from the past. So
I know time has flown in between this, the two seasons for somehow it's already 2026, which is wild. But to Tim's point, we've been talking about AI pretty significantly since, the past 5 or so years, I'd say. But the whole reason we created the initial season 1 Boring AI show, especially to Tim's point around 2023, 2024, a lot of hype and fear specifically in the AI space that we wanted to address. We saw a need for breaking down some of the overhyped buzziness of AI that we saw in the news and the fear mongering, and actually bringing it to folks and to organizations in a really tangible way, and hopefully less scary and boring, literally boring way. So that was really the mission of the Boring AI Show, and I'm excited to see how we can translate that to season 2.
Yeah, and we try not to be all that boring, but so let's try to keep it light a little bit. But with the hype cycle, man, it is just brutal. And even just today, we Tally and I just came from a session we were working with a client, and there was a lot of repeating of what's in the hype cycle around, like, well, no developers are writing code anymore. They're all just using these tools. It's like, well, that's not exactly true. Like, and that's, marketing at its best happening. But there is a lot to be excited about, but man, we're seeing the most interesting and useful use cases are kind of these things that are boring back office stuff that's really making an actual difference in people's work. So really excited to share more about that. There's a lot that's changed in the past year since we've been on the podcast. Can't wait to share it all with you. And to get started, we have NotebookLM is our tool we'll be talking about today. And Tally, why don't you share what we did as our experiment here?
Yeah, so NotebookLM is a really cool and powerful tool. And one of the outputs that NotebookLM can create are these audio snippets that sound like a podcast. And so we thought it would be a fun way to use that to help summarize season 1, and then also segue into talking about different AI tools such as NotebookLM and prompt engineering tools. So we used a pretty basic prompt, and we'll talk about that here later after you listen to this snippet, to create this very brief, it's about 1.5 minutes, NotebookLM AI generated Boring AI Show season 1 recap. So we'll go ahead and take a listen to that, and then Tim and I will discuss what we think about this output.
This is the brief on season 1 of the Boring AI Show. We're cutting right through all that noise and hype to explore practical, everyday AI applications across different sectors, getting you totally caught up on the most important lessons just in time for Season 2. So first up, AI in the workplace. We dove into using AI for HR and digital transformation, really focusing on growing AI talent and actively improving the employee experience. But I gotta ask, are companies genuinely using AI to make things better for their teams, or are they just rushing digital transformation to cut costs? Second, we shifted from corporate HR into specific industry realities. We covered higher ed and AI, plus AI for patients and providers. And the core lesson here? Avoiding what we call Wonka vision. It's like treating AI like this magic golden ticket, right? But in reality, especially in high-stakes fields like healthcare and education, it's an evolving, practical tool that absolutely demands human oversight. Finally, we brought it back to individual skills and team culture. We looked at all about AI literacy, catching the 2024 AI trends to watch, and hitting that AI-assisted flow state. We even had some fun with our intern takeover and Halloween edition. But honestly, is mastering basic AI literacy the literal key to unlocking that effortless flow state for modern workers? Ultimately, Season 1 successfully laid the groundwork for practical AI literacy and workplace transformation, setting the perfect stage for the innovations coming in Season 2.
All right, so that was the Notebook LM recap of season 1. Tim, what are your thoughts?
I thought it is interesting because after so our producer Nicholas shared this, I was like, wait a minute, did that come from Notebook LM? Because I'm used to hearing like the two people talk, and he did the summarization feature. So that was one thing that was new to me, actually. So I'm not a frequent user of Notebook LM. So I was kind of surprised of, oh, well, we have different options now. We have different things, different ways we can produce this audio. So that was cool of like, oh, there's more capabilities, big shock. An AI tool has lots more capabilities by the day. But I did like how it did summarize everything. And I felt like it really smashed together a lot of the episodes, that it lost the context. And the one that stood out to me the most was the Willy Wonka effect episode, where it totally had missed what we were actually talking about in that episode, which was for those who remember, the Glasgow, Scotland Willy Wonka experience event that was just a total disaster. And comically bad. And so in the recap, it kind of talks about, well, this is a general concept. It's like, well, no, we were talking about a specific event that totally went sideways. So I thought that was interesting. What about you, Tally? What did you pick up on?
So it was interesting. We did a few of these actually, and initially the first one we generated, it didn't even touch on the episodes. It was more just general themes, which I thought was really interesting. But to your point, the one that we just played for you, it is interesting the specific episodes it chose to highlight. And I think part of that comes back to, which we could touch on here, prompt engineering basics. When the team was creating this snippet, it was a very basic prompt. So very simple, create a quick 1.5 minute recap of the Boring AI show season 1 using the transcripts that we uploaded. So it had that context for context engineering, but the prompt wasn't extremely poignant on purpose, because we wanted to see what would come out of it. And so, it is interesting in thinking about these outputs. If we were to do it again, and maybe we wanted, to your point, Tim, something more specific on what was the real impact of each of these examples you provided, mm-hmm. or what were the general themes? We could have had that as part of the prompt as well. So I think it's interesting what it came up with without that specific prompt engineering.
Yeah, and you hit two very cool topics here: prompt engineering and context engineering. And so, can you just share with the audience here, like, what is prompt engineering? What is context engineering? I feel like a lot of people know prompt engineering because, like, you can't turn on LinkedIn without people telling you the one prompt to totally transform yourself to a billionaire.
Right.
But, like, a lot of people don't hear about context engineering. Can you share what these are?
Absolutely. So I think the easiest way to put it is prompts are what you ask the AI tool. Contexts are what it knows. So prompt engineering is really asking questions and talking to the AI in a manner it understands. But context engineering is providing the tools, the data and information necessary for the system to be successful in interpreting and having the background information needed to fulfill your prompted request.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Anything you would add there?
No, I would add that a lot of times when people are getting hallucinations, where the AI is making stuff up or it's giving wrong answers, a lot of time that has to do with either your prompt is off target, or you're using the wrong algorithm, or your context is not configured properly. And so really constraining that context to like, these are the files that I want to be working with. This is the content that I want to think through. That's like super, super critical.
Mm-hmm.
We see all the time where people are just asking, the example we use in our upskilling classes is asking it, what is AI? Like that's your prompt. What is AI? And the answer you get back is this huge long answer, whether it's ChatGPT or Claude or Copilot or Gemini, whoever you ask that. You get this long answer back because you didn't give it any context and you had a horrible prompt. If you target that prompt to say, hey, as a third grade teacher, explain to me AI as a third grader, you'll get much more condensed, much more focused answer that's actually usable. So giving it that, constraints in the prompt, really usable, or uploading, like these are the approved definitions of AI for our company and our policies,
Mm-hmm.
loading that into a system that constrains the context. So keeping everybody focused.
No,
Um,
I think that's great. And we actually, just to add on to that, have a prompting framework. Well, we have several that we recommend at Mind Over Machines, but I think one of the easiest ones, at least for me to remember, is just the who, do, what, how. So to your point, Tim, who is the AI solution acting as? Are they acting as a third grader, explaining what AI is to a third grader? Or are they acting a third grade teacher? Or are they acting as, a data scientist? So there's going to be very different levels of depth in that output based on who the AI is acting as. And then do, so instructing it to do some sort of action or structure. Obviously, what is the prompt about? And then how do you want the output to look? Is this a 10-page essay, or is this a quick bulleted list, no longer than one page? And those are going to really obviously impact the type of output that you're going to get.
yeah. And we see, like, again, going back to this is every generative AI tool, whether you're using Firefly through Adobe, whether you're using, NotebookLM, thinking through your prompt and creating a well-structured prompt for that tool. So like, who do what how is great, with ChatGPT and Gemini and Claude. If I'm working in Adobe Firefly, which is very visual, I need to be speaking in a framework that talks about photography and how, like what's the focal length of the camera? How is the shot angled? And so really knowing the language of your AI tool is super important. So NotebookLM, which we use to summarize the whole season, do you remember the prompt we used for that, Tally?
It was very basic.
Mm-hmm.
We gave it the context of the transcript, but it was really basic on purpose to see what it would come up with, so we could talk about the prompting best practices. So I think it was something like, please transcribe this, or please recap this season 1 of a podcast show using these transcriptions.
Yeah. And again, like there's some really cool stuff Notebook LM can do outside of the audio pieces. But again, making sure you're using the good prompts, the proper prompts, that's really important. Like, I used it for creating like a narrative roadmap before, like to create an image for that. You can create slide decks with it, and their slides are actually pretty good too. I don't know, I wouldn't say they're Miro good, but they're pretty good. Um,
No,
so
very cool. Those visuals you created to just to paint a picture for the audience. Tim showed, so he's an author, and he used it to create almost a narrative or a story arc of a summary of a book, I believe it was, Tim, and it
Mhm.
looked like this mountain almost that you would see the main character taking the journey up, and you could see these stages throughout that journey depicted visually, to kind of give an overview of the storyline, which I thought was very cool.
Yeah, and that's, again, using knowing your tools. Like, and this is where I'm often asked, like, and, Tally, I know you get the same question because usually we're in the room when people are asking, what's the right tool to use? And there really there's no single answer. It's like, well, what are you trying to do? Like, what are you trying to do? And what tools are you comfortable with? And, we see ChatGPT is kind of the Swiss Army knife tool, and Claude is really good for large context and data heavy systems, and so and Firefly up until last week or the week before when the new image system came out from OpenAI, Firefly was where I would go for all the image work that you're doing. Um, so I guess one of the things with boring AI shows summary, we learned, hey, there's new features, and play around with the features with NotebookLM and see what you can get, because there's some pretty cool stuff out there. But you got to play with intent, right? Like you're trying to learn. It's not just wandering around clicking things randomly.
Yeah, no, I love that. I think exploring, I think that's definitely a large, and obviously, either do so personally, or if you're going to do so at work, do it within your organization's policy. Just a caveat there, but definitely explore. To Tim's point, there are tools that are better for certain use cases, and also certain arguments could be made to use, one or two different tools for the same use case. And we actually recommend there's solutions out there that leverage different AI tools and systems, and actually have the AI agents either talking to each other or reviewing each other's work, which I think is really interesting. So the topic of AI collaboration, and how you can even use, to Tim's point, multiple tools to try to get whatever it is your end output is that you're seeking, which I think is a great way to use the strengths of different ones and see what the different outputs of different tools would give you.
So, if pivoting topics a little bit, like if you had an episode for the Boring AI Show season 1 that you tell people, like, you should go check this out, which episode would it be for you?
Ooh, so I'm biased. I I do have a psychology background, and I loved the episode we did with Jody
Hmm.
on AI and psychology and change management, and how to really make sure, especially when it's a tool like AI, you're really being conscious around how humans are going to be interacting with the tool, addressing fears, because those are real, not ignoring or dismissing that, but making sure that people feel heard in that space, while also demystifying maybe any, outlandish, fear-mongering news and things that are out there. So I really loved that episode with Jody. I thought that was just such a fun episode to talk about, AI, change management, and AI as it relates to human psychology.
Yeah.
Yours.
That was the Halloween episode, wasn't it?
I believe so. Don't quote me on that.
Yeah, because that's where my mind was going, to the Halloween episode, where I remembered us talking a lot about like the scary things. And I think, actually, my absolute favorite episode was the intern takeover, listening to Nicholas and
Yeah.
Sandra kind of talk through that. That was fun. But the Halloween episode I thought was really like a great place if people were to come in, because it was a super casual conversation.
Mhm.
And I feel like it was like a good, I don't know, personification of what we're trying to do in this series. It's all about humans. It's all about like people and getting out of the hype cycle. And there's some other great AI podcasts that do dig into the human and do dig into what's useful out there, and I really enjoy them. I think for us, the thing I like is real world use cases
Mhm.
that really show the value of humanity and humans in the business processes that AI is enabling. So
100%. Yeah, I agree. I think that's my favorite thing about the show. And also just our method of absorb, do, connect. So something that we're really big here on at Mind Over Machines is this method of absorb, do, connect to learn. So absorb information, maybe we're sharing, like we just mentioned, NotebookLM, how that works, or that, ChatGPT just released its latest 5.5 version. But then actually doing this, so like we just mentioned, showing you with this large language or this NotebookLM snippet what this actually looks like, and for you guys to go in and practice this and to experiment, to actually absorb this, and then connecting it back to your actual day-to-day through practical use cases. I think that method of the absorb, do, connect really, at least for me, hits home for how I learn.
yeah, yeah, totally. And so what do you think is something that's people should look forward to on season 2 here? I know we haven't mapped out like here's everything we're going to be talking about in season 2. Because I mean, everybody knows this AI thing is going a little fast, and there's all kinds of new stuff to talk about all the time. But what are some of the things you're looking forward to in season 2 for us to cover?
Great question. So I think the purpose of season 1 was really, especially just given the timing of when that was released, focused around demystifying and getting through that AI, BS or chaos that's out there into the actual, meat of it all, and really making it feel practical and understanding, where truth lies. I think with season 2, while that'll still be an element, it'll be much more of a focus on actual practical examples and use cases. And I'm hoping, throughout each of these, we can learn from each other and our guests of ways that I think it's changing every week, Tim. Every time we talk, there's a new use case or, hey, have you tried using AI in this way? And for me, that's how I learn. And so actually hearing about these tangible use cases, I think that's going to be much more of a focus. And I'm really excited for that in this season.
Yeah.
What about you? What are you looking forward to in season 2? And was there anything in season 1 that you really liked that you want to carry over or see emphasized in this season?
Yeah, so everybody go listen to season 1, because I think you'll find that Tally and I were like, we don't really know what we're doing, and we're just trying to figure out how to do this LinkedIn audio thing. And we actually, the podcast was, I think it is appropriate to say we thought about that later. We were recording all the episodes, the live episodes, but we really just kind of approached it as a LinkedIn live audio event. And then we're like, okay, we did it, like moving on. And we fortunately had some really talented people, like producer Nicholas, who was like, hey, we should have this as a podcast. Let's put all those recordings out. And we're like, yeah, that sounds like a great idea. So I am excited this season that we actually have the right tools and equipment to actually have a podcast and be successful with it. So that's cool. Outside of that, there's a lot that, we have OpenAI's potential IPO coming up, Anthropic's potential IPO coming up, and a lot of people are looking at this, and we have the MIT, next week we'll be talking about MIT's top 10 things to watch in AI. And one of them is the AI backlash, and I believe, I haven't listened to all the episodes from season 1, but I believe we called this a few years ago, like, hey, there's going to come a backlash where people are going to be like, yeah, I'm tired of hearing about AI all the time. And I'm tired of its impact on the planet. And I'm, concerned about this, that, and the other thing. I'm very curious to see how that gets navigated while we're making season 2. I'm also very excited. We have a lot of awesome events going on with educational systems. And I'm really excited about how that's going to manifest and change. And we'll be sharing what we're doing with local universities here in the Maryland area and school systems, sharing that with the audience, because AI is not just a corporate thing. It's not just a personal learning thing. It's a social communal thing. And so we got to approach it from all those different angles. And I'm really excited to see how this evolves over this next season.
I love that. So before we switch over to AI wins, is there anything else, Tim, that you'd say about not only season 1, but also the one boring day that we did?
Yeah.
And on that note, I will also, just shout out to the audience. If there are certain topics or things you're interested in hearing about in season 2, please reach out, drop message or reach out to us via email, phone, whatever works, to please tell us what kind of things you're looking for. Are you looking to learn about different types of AI solutions? Are you looking to learn about different use cases, certain industries? Please let us know, and we'll make sure to take that into consideration when we continue to record these episodes. But on that note, Tim, anything that you want to say about one boring day?
Yeah, before I get into that, so Tally, as you were going through that, I was thinking about, like, my son watches the YouTube videos when they're like, hit like and subscribe, so.
I know, I was trying to think of all the calls to action, but however you can reach out.
Yeah, all the calls to action, reach out,
Exactly.
drop comments. And in all seriousness, like, we want this to be useful to the audience. So, like, drop comments. What do you want us talking about? Like, let us know. Tally and I are out there living this, like, AI life with people actually implementing projects, not just we have something that's working on our desktop, or, hey, we're doing this experiment. Like, no, we're working with organizations that are actually implementing large scale and small scale and experiments and, big enterprises and small enterprises and startups. And so we're working with all kinds of organizations. So if you have questions, drop them in the comments. We'll be happy to talk to them, and like and subscribe. So one boring day. The thing with one boring day was, we had never tried something like that. I had never tried to put together something like that. That was really cool. Like, I was really excited about all the different topics we had. It was a single day series of webinars that we did where it started out, we had like a technical deep dive with some team members. And then we got into like governance topics with a partner of ours who's a law firm that specializes in AI governance. And then we were talking about the business use cases around AI and the business of AI. So it was a really cool day where we approached AI from lots of different angles. I would say, and I don't know if you're kind of hinting at this, Tally, are we going to do it again? I would love to do it again. I would love to do another one boring day. But I think, those who know me know I like to go big. Like, so bigger scale, bigger activities, I think would be really cool. There is nothing scheduled, anybody, just as a note, but if you guys keep cheering for it, we will. And we have heard people that are like, "Oh, that was really cool." So if you liked one boring day, or you want to see us do another one, make sure to let us know via the comments and like and subscribe.
Exactly.
So,
No, please let us know if like an AI day-long summit is something you'd be interested in. Please let us know.
yep,
Absolutely.
cool.
Awesome.
What's your win this week, Tally, for AI?
Oh, I was going back and forth on this. There's a couple different ones, but honestly, and you touched on this a little bit earlier. But I had a meeting earlier today with some Towson University students where we were going over one of their potential proposed use cases. And it was so great to see, because we see AI so much in the corporate world, and just seeing how AI is being taught in higher education, institutions is very cool. And they had a whole page emphasizing the importance of human in the loop, which is so great for me to see. As somebody who loves to see, human involvement and really making sure we're thinking through how to design solutions and processes to support both humans and AI. It was really great to see them focus on this concept. And for those who aren't aware, human in the loop is it's a system design approach where humans actively participate in whatever the process is, or the operation or decision making of any sort of AI system or AI process that's been implemented. And so it was really great to just see how thoughtful these students were in producing a solution that not only were they really interested in the tech side, they were also interested in the oversight and the risk management and how humans would be involved to ensure that whatever the output generated and the final decision that was made was really had that human judgment involved there, which was really, really great to see. So I would say that's my win for the week. It was really, really great.
Yeah, that's awesome. I can't wait to see what these students are cooking up. So we have a contest that we're doing with Towson University. We will share more about it in a future episode. But the students are putting together these really cool governance programs, and I can't wait to see them next Wednesday. So
I'm so excited.
yeah.
It's going to be great. All
So,
right, Tim, what's your win for the week?
so my win for the week, I'm doing working with Claude Cowork, working with Obsidian, which is a note-taking system where you can capture notes really quickly. It does a really cool knowledge graph. It's like a wiki-based note system, so you can link your notes together. Really, really, really powerful note-taking system, Obsidian. It's open source, runs locally. It's got some really cool stuff to it. But you can hook Claude Cowork to it to be able to create these notes and knowledge graphs for yourself. And so I've been taking our entire human AI pathways, which is our service offering around artificial intelligence, and documenting like case studies and stories and impact and all of the decks that we've, like tons of slide decks we've done around this topic, bringing them all into this knowledge graph, because in the future, it'd be great for me to be able to say, hey, I need a quick slide deck on the following, and it can just pop a slide deck out on that topic. Or, hey, we're getting ready to meet with this client to talk about this latest research, build me a slide deck to hit the points that the client would care about. And so this Obsidian graph is kind of a second brain for me around human AI pathways that is going to be really useful, and I'm hoping will be useful to other people. So setting it up so that I can share it, with you, Tally, or, with people like Ken or other people in our team, so that as you guys are having discussions with clients, that you can just say, hold on, let me produce this case study for you in real time, real quick.
I love that in my mind. Yeah, I I think there's an endless possibility for other folks to use a second brain, quote unquote. I think we can all agree that would be helpful from time to time. So I love that. That's a great use case.
So yeah, that's my fun for the week around building this out. And again, the anyone who tries going for this, there's a lot of videos on YouTube on how to do it. I can't emphasize enough, don't forget what Tally was talking about earlier around prompt engineering and context engineering. And remember, your AI does not think like you. So when you're creating a notebook, like a series of notes that are going to be useful for you and the AI system, you are going to have a challenge of how that's going to be structured and manifest. So that's actually, I think, the thing I've enjoyed the most about it is how do I create an asset that is both easily consumable by an artificial intelligence system and a human system. And so that's been really fun.
I love that. Very cool.
Awesome. What else, Tally? Anything else for us today? Or are we wrapping up?
No, I think that's a great way to end it. Please stay tuned at this point for the second episode where we're going to really deep dive into, as Tim mentioned, some of the trends and predictions we see for this year as it relates to Boring AI shows, the whole season 2, and also just the end of 2026 going into 2027, what we see as potential trends. So stay tuned for that. But no, in the meantime, I think this was a great episode, and I love hearing about and reminiscing on all of the successful episodes of episode 1. So if you haven't had a chance, please check that out because it's really great. There's really great content.
Yes, I'm really excited about what we did with the Boring AI show in the beginning. I'm super psyched about what we're going to be doing this year. I think we are hearing from people, this is what they need to understand the difference between the hype and what's really happening out there, as well as some of the real challenges people are facing. So, stick around, hang out with us, and get a dose of reality that's hopefully fun, human, and, informative along the way.
Perfect. See you guys next week.
See you next week.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us on the Boring AI Show. Practical AI minus the hype. Subscribe, share it with someone on their own AI journey, and we'll see you next time.